me! Don't touch me!
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm cosy. It's just another day in central London. But
right now, GBNews national reporter Charlie Peters is live. He's following the protests as they march through London. They were at the Reform London HQ. Charlie, where are we now? What's happening?
Well, we're now in Whitehall, Nana, marching towards Downing Street, where the Stand Up to Racism protest is moving in. You can hear the chanting behind me. Say it loud, say it clear. Refugees are welcome here. They were protesting outside the Reform UK headquarters earlier. Many people there saying that Nigel Farage was to blame for much of the violent disorder and rioting we saw earlier this week. Now, we've also seen some comments from people here associating fascists and Nazis and the far right with much of the rioting we've seen, saying people chanting Nazi scum off our streets, which of course is quite charged political commentary considering it's being delivered outside the Reform UK London office. Now, Reform told us, a spokesperson said that that area was not a specific location that they use. They keep their actual headquarters hidden because of concerns from far-left thugs. That's their language. Now, riot police just moving across here as the territorial support group of the Met Police move in to ensure this demonstration continues peacefully. And it comes as there are marches across the country. We've seen them in Birmingham, Manchester, Cardiff, Newcastle, Glasgow, Edinburgh, and also here in London. This is probably one of the biggest we've seen in the country today. The lure of protests now attracting additional numbers. Arriving just in front of Downing Street now, some of the protesters moving opposite a classic protest position in the capital. And this comes, of course, as the police were on high alert for additional protests and demonstrations this weekend. 6,000 specialist officers put on duty to be deployed nationwide if needed. The Crown Prosecution Service also have an additional 100 prosecutors available for the courts. The courts are working this weekend. Many magistrates dealing with charges and sentencing today for some of the scenes we've witnessed in the last fortnight. But here, this has been a peaceful protest by Stand Up to Racism. Other groups present as well. We've seen Turkish and indeed German communists present at this protest. Those from the party had flown in from Germany to support what they described as the anti-racist, anti-fascist movement in London. So significant protests taking place at this location as it is across the country today. Additional police on duty. And also there were comments in the week, I think, leading up to quite a nervy weekend from the police with the Met Commissioner Sir Mark Rowley on Thursday praising, it appears, the significant demonstration that took place on Wednesday night, saying that it was a show of unity from our communities. But he was sort of rebuked by Cabinet Office Minister Nick Thomas-Symonds, who said that he did not want to encourage any demonstration. There was a big demonstration here in the end. Hundreds marching now on Downing Street, having gathered outside the Reform UK headquarters earlier. Now, there haven't been any arrests here, but there were a few in Newcastle earlier today. One man arrested on suspicion of possessing a weapon. A hammer was reportedly removed from him at that location. That was a standoff between anti-migration and anti-fascist protesters. No counter-protest here, by contrast, just Stand Up to Racism's presence as they were standing outside the Reform UK headquarters, chanting that Nazi scum had to go off their streets. And now they're going to be gathering outside Downing Street.
All right, thank you very much. Charlie Peters is there at the anti-racism or anti-something protest. Thank you so much. Go to this. GBNews' national reporter Charlie Peters is live from a counter-protest march. What's happening there, Charlie? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all good. I'm cosy. It's just another day in central London. But I don't know if you saw, but as we were just broadcasting live, at the end of that shot on Downing Street, on Whitehall just behind me, as the crowd started to gather in front of number 10, a group I think recognised that we were GB News, and a few had noticed us before. Perhaps that is the nature of GB News. We are hated, adored, but never ignored. And when they saw who we were, they started chanting GB News off our streets. That came after they were chanting Nazi scum off our streets. And that quite heated atmosphere, including a couple of the people who were on the march, saw a man come towards us and try to block our broadcast, touching the camera and our cameraman I think we might be able to show you that in a clip, and also attacked another member of my team, hit him as he came forward to try and move him away from our excellent cameraman, who's done a fantastic job in difficult circumstances today, surrounded by many people who don't want us to be here. I think we can show you the clip now of what happened. Take it away.
Don't touch me! Don't touch me! I will... He's touching me!
Film it, Stevie. Film it. Get your stuff. Get it back. Get it back.
I'm not getting it back. My job is your safety. No. Yeah.
Is that your bag?
Yes.
Listen to them.
Oh.
Well, he was taken away from us by the police there, who very helpfully swarmed in on the situation, and that was that. That was an unacceptable, really, an unhappy ending to the Stand Up to Racism march that was outside the Reform UK headquarters. We came to cover it, as we always do, impartially and balanced, looking towards these protests, understanding what they're about, but it seems that some people here don't want GB News to be covering it. Some people don't want freedom of the press at their marches, but that won't deter us, and I look forward to attending the next march.
Thank you very much, Charlie Peters, out there at the Stand Up to Racism march, which ended with that. Briefly to you, Matthew Larser, you see that these are supposedly peaceful protesters, supposedly meant to be on the side of the good, the hashtag Be Kind Brigade, and there you see that.
It's completely unacceptable. I'm very glad to see that the police did pounce on him in significant numbers. Who knows if they will take further action, but they'll certainly, I hope, be discussing it further with the guy involved who was causing the trouble. We don't want rent-a-mob on our streets from any angle.
Lynn May, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think these things can't be accepted across the board, and, you know, I don't see why there's so much hatred towards GB News when people should be allowed to express their various opinions. However, what we saw today is nothing like what we've seen in terms of the riot. So, you know, I still think it's overwhelmingly positive and peaceful.
Well, yeah, there may not be anything in terms of the riots, and I do agree with that, but that's how these things start, don't they? A lot of them start peacefully like that, but we don't want people aggressive like that on the streets behaving in that manner.